Hey, you beautiful twin flames, and welcome back to Tarot for You 444. I'm so delighted that you could join me today. This, of course, is Bobby Bear, and Bobby Bear is delighted that you could join us today for this twin flame concept video, because today I'm going to be talking all about separation, which is a humongous, absolutely enormous topic. And I'm going to write some notes, and hopefully Bobby Bear can help me hold up the notes. So we're going to first and foremost talk about twin flame separation, because I know many of you are experiencing some form of separation. I don't know if this is going to work. Hang on. Okay. It's not going to work. Bobby Bear, you've got to help me, dude. Maybe this isn't going to work. Yes, it is. Okay, let's be positive. All right, so twin flame separation is what the topic is all about today. And I know many of you have been having either long separations or short separations, and the general consensus in the twin flame community is that if I work on myself, if I work on my inner self and, come into union in the 5D with myself, then my twin flame will come in. And yes, absolutely, this is true, but this is only part of the equation. So this is something I've been studying for some time. This is something I've been working on with many twin flames who I do counseling with, and many twin flames who come and get readings from me. And I've been studying twin flames for a long time. So what I've noticed is that when the divine feminine works on herself in fifth dimensional consciousness, she might do one of these things. Okay, so she might pray. She might do yoga. She might do, grounding. She might spend time in nature. Okay. And for those of you who've done my courses, you'll know that you can also do manifestation. Okay. If you've done my manifestation courses, you'll know that you can attract your twin in that way more specifically, as well as other things. And there's a variety of things that the divine feminine generally does, okay, to attain this union within herself. So she might even, she might look into her inner child wounds. She might experience her shadow self, or her shadow, I'll call it shadow self. Okay, she might revisit her past lives, perhaps for some of you, if you believe in past lives. She might do some kind of soul retrieval or energy cleansing. There's a variety of things that many of you do that, as twin flames, as light workers, you might be doing these things in the fifth dimensional consciousness space. And what I've noticed is that although these things can help us get into inner union with ourselves first and foremost, we still haven't quite pulled in the puzzle, because we are working with energies in the 3D reality as well. So in the 5D, we do the inner work, and that might, be compounded or made up of all of these different things. But the thing I want you to understand is that even though our soul is in fifth dimensional consciousness and above, our body resides in the 3D reality, okay? Now, because of our body residing in the 3D reality, this means that we have to also realize that we have needs. Okay, and many of you who would like to go a little bit deeper into this can look into Maslow's hierarchy of needs and see that the needs that we generally need. We need food, shelter, we need connection, etc. And I want the divine feminine here today to understand that even though supposedly, and I'm going to put this in air commas, supposedly we're not supposed to be looking for outcome in the twin flame journey, aka union, and we're supposed to have enough faith and continually go within, and we're not supposed to focus on outcome, which I disagree with in terms of manifestation. But the point I'm trying to make here is that as light workers, as twin flames, as divine feminines experiencing life in a human body, we actually need to realize that part of us is in the 3D reality, even if our soul resides in fifth dimensional consciousness and above. So in the 3D reality, we have got needs. We do need to communicate and connect with others. So I'm going to write these things down. What I believe that we need as human beings. So I'll write that down. As humans, we need communication is going to be the first point. As human beings, we also need connection. As human beings, we also need to have boundaries. As human beings, we also need intimacy. Now, intimacy can be sexual or non-sexual. And as human beings, we also need to have an understanding for one another. So we need to have compassion, empathy, and show kindness to others for where they are in the journey. Okay? Okay, so these are really important notes here. So in the 3D reality, because we are human, we do need communication. We do need connection, as in, we need to connect with others, whether they are, overseas or in our backyard, right? We also need to have boundaries. We also need intimacy, sexual or non-sexual. And we also need to have an understanding for one another where we can be able to give others and receive from others compassion, empathy, and show kindness for where they are in their own journey. So when we're talking about twin flame separation, we understand that yes, although we are in separation, we may have some more things that we need to work on. We may need to work on our shadow self. We may have something else that we're working on intrinsically just for us. But within this separation, we also must understand that once we've done the inner work, or most of the inner work, if the divine masculine isn't coming in, we need to also give a portion of this credit to him. So what I'm about to say now is that I believe 3/4 of the separation is due to the inner work not having been completed. I mean, I don't think we ever complete inner work, but not having been fully realized. But 1/4 of the reason why your divine masculine doesn't come in is because he needs to take responsibility for coming in. Okay? So separation can occur because we're not focused on the self. I also believe that 1/4 of this, and take gender how it resonates, because some divine masculines are, of course, in a different gender. But I believe that he needs to take responsibility. He or she needs to take responsibility for coming in. I get many, many emails from many of you saying things like, my divine masculine, let's finish these sentences, okay? So these are the emails that I'm getting, and these are the counselings that I'm getting with people and having with people. So I want you to know, my divine masculine said he was going to call me and didn't. My divine masculine was texting me every single day, and now he's not. My divine masculine has completely ghosted me, and I don't know why. My divine masculine is ignoring me. My divine masculine is sometimes excited to see me and other times not excited to see me. My divine masculine hasn't spoken to me for 5 years. My divine masculine said that he couldn't call me because he was tired. My divine masculine said that he didn't text me for 3 weeks because he had a lot going on with work. All right? So we can put any, I'm going to call them excuses. We can put any of these excuses underneath this heading here. My divine masculine ... All right? My divine masculine isn't replying to my messages. My divine masculine ghosted me. My divine masculine said he was going to meet me for a video call and never showed up. My divine masculine said he was going to meet me for coffee and never showed up. So what I want to say to the divine feminine today is that 3/4 of this is regarding inner work. 3/4 of this is this being, you being okay with you and not being focused upon outcome. But there is 1/4 of your divine masculine where we're going to give him a little bit of a nudge and say, well, it's actually up to his free will whether he comes in or not. It takes about 30 seconds or less to text someone. It takes about 30 seconds or less to tell someone that you can't meet them for that call or that coffee date. It takes about 30 seconds for someone to read your message on social media if you've sent them a direct message. So many of you are saying that your divine masculines are online. You know, maybe they had an active status 3 minutes ago or 3 hours ago or 2 hours ago or 5 hours ago, and they saw your message or they ignored your message, and you're kind of going, oh, well, it's my fault because I haven't done all the inner work yet. It's absolutely my fault because I'm not in union with myself. Now, as far as I'm aware, and I'm, like I say, I've been studying this for years and years and years. And I've seen twin flames come together. I've helped twin flames come together and be in union for permanently. But as far as I'm concerned, is that as we ascend to fifth dimensional consciousness and above, we are always learning. We are always doing some form of inner work. We are always doing some form of shadow work. We are always perhaps working on childhood wounds. We are always perhaps, going into what happened in our past and realizing we made mistakes. We are always having realizations and we are always having growth. So we're in a constant cycle of growth and rebirth and growth and rebirth and growth and rebirth. Unless we go back into ego and ignore ourselves completely. But I don't want to give the divine masculines a bad rap here, because yes, we do love them unconditionally. But what is the thing that's missing here? And if you do the Magic 20 with me, you'll find out a lot more about this. But the number one thing that's missing with divine feminine, and even in soulmate relationships, is that she hasn't defined her boundaries. Okay, so let's say you're pretty, I don't know, maybe you're religious, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're just spiritual, but maybe you pray a lot. Maybe you do yoga. Maybe you go within a lot. Maybe you continually try and be the best version of yourself all of the time. Maybe you've shed most of your ego and you are a kind, loving, wonderful human being, and your divine masculine still isn't coming in. I don't want you to say to yourself that, oh no, it's because I'm lacking in some way. I'm still lacking in some way, because if we're going to do that, we're going to continually guilt trip ourselves and say, you know what, I always am missing this thing. I haven't healed that inner childhood wound. I haven't healed that part of me that needs to be healed. And we're going to be in this constant state of not being enough, which is really not good for our self-esteem. So what comes into play here is that if your divine masculine is coming in and going out and coming in and going out, or going out and not coming in for ages, the thing that's really missing here is boundaries from the divine feminine. Without having a boundary of what you will and won't accept from a person, whether that's your twin flame or a friend, then people can't respect your boundaries. So let's just take the example of children that want to go and play in the restaurant playground, let's say. There might be a height rule. There might be a rule about, making sure you keep your shoes on, etc., etc. Now, many of you haven't put down any boundaries with your divine masculine. Many of you haven't said, look, this is a deal breaker for me. If you don't communicate regularly with me, as an example, communication is the biggest thing that I get asked about, so I'll talk about that. But if you don't tell your divine masculine what is and isn't acceptable about his behavior with you, then your divine masculine does not know what the rules are to your playground, using it as a metaphor here, the playground being the metaphor. So if he doesn't know what the rules are, he will continually break them. So if he doesn't know that you expect him to reply to him within 24 hours, or at least stick to the arrangements that you've made and comply with what you've both agreed to comply with, I mean, to me, it's something that shouldn't even be a question. But for many divine masculines, communication is their biggest issue. Now, many of you might come to me now and say, well, hang on a minute, isn't that codependent? Isn't that codependency having an expectation of when your twin flame should call or when your twin flame should come in? And I would argue that if you have self-love for yourself, that you would do the same for someone else. So, I mean, maybe your auntie might say, hey, we should get together and watch Netflix. And you might say, yeah, sure, what day? And if she didn't reply to you, you'd be pissed off, right? Not in an ego way, but just in a, well, you know, you kind of said you wanted to spend time with me and you're not coming in and telling me when we want to spend time. And what I find interesting is that the divine feminine will not tolerate this kind of behavior from friends and family, but yet with the divine masculine, she's willing to give everything up. She's willing to say, well, maybe he's just going through a tough time right now, and maybe his mum needed him to go and do that errand, and maybe he's in Guatemala, you know, looking at the scenery. Or maybe he's, you know, in Walmart buying that new, I don't know, buying that new remote control car or something, right? So what I'm finding is the divine feminine is willing to allow her masculine to treat her in a way that she wouldn't allow others to treat her. I want you to define your boundaries in your own mind. And if possible, when you come together right now over me. I don't know why that song's coming, but I want you to tell your divine masculine what your boundaries are. I need ... because ... right? So I need you to tell me when we're going to have a call so I can get ready and get my jobs done before we have a call, let's say. Right? You might even say, I feel abandoned by you when you don't text me at the time when you say you're going to text me. I have many, many divine feminines sitting and waiting by their phones, sitting and waiting for that call, constantly checking, constantly wondering where is their divine masculine. And it's not okay anymore. If we are going to change the world, if we are going to be divine masculine and divine feminine, the feminine needs to stand up and say, and not in an egotistical way, but she needs to have boundaries enough to say, you know, this behavior isn't okay. It literally takes 30 seconds or less to send a text message to someone. Okay? It doesn't take any time to do that. Many of you, knowing that your divine masculines are active online somewhere else and aren't answering your message. Perhaps they've seen your message and haven't answered it for a few days or a few weeks or months or whatever it is. So as soon as you come into the ability to be able to have a conversation with your masculine, preferably, you know, on a call or on a video call, I want you to set some boundaries. I don't want you to be passive aggressive. I don't want you to yell at them. I don't want you to scream at them. But if they don't know what your boundaries are, then they will continually break them. You know, it's like that kid in school that goes, well, I didn't know we couldn't throw rulers at the fan. And so maybe the school's policy is now that, you know, we do not throw things in the classroom anymore. But until someone knows your boundaries, they can't comply with them. So we can be mad all day long at whoever it is that we're mad with. Maybe it's not the twin flame, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a lover, maybe it's a significant other or a family member. But unless they know what your boundaries are, they cannot either choose to respect them or break them. Because that gives someone a choice, doesn't it? They can either respect your boundaries or break them. Okay. But give them the reasons. You say, you know, maybe you've got abandonment wounding or something like that, and you need to know where someone is, otherwise you constantly worry about where they are. Maybe that's why. Or maybe you like to have a day's notice in advance because you need to take time off work so that you can actually spend time with your significant person, you know? There might be a million different reasons, but if someone doesn't know what your boundaries are, they can't respect them. And this, you can use this in work situations, you can use this in family situations, you can use this with friends, and also with your twin flame. But we've got to stop trying to say that, you know, because I haven't done my inner work, because I haven't done all of my inner work, the divine masculine isn't coming in, because that's not 100% true. 3/4 of it is yes, because of the inner work. But 1/4 has to be, we have to give a kudos or a non-kudos to the divine masculine here and say that he also has to step up in some kind of way, because we deserve as divine feminines and as sovereign beings, we deserve to know what's going on. If he doesn't want to talk, he can say, I don't want to talk to you anymore. If he doesn't want to be involved with you anymore, he can say that. So it's really important that we have boundaries. So that's all I'd like to say to you today. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Don't forget all of my packages and things that I have. And I'm doing readings as well and counseling on the phone. If you want to get into communication with me regarding any of those things, please contact me via email. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a beautiful day, night, afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe and know that me and Bobby love you very much. Let's do a Bobby kiss before we go. Mwah. And just know that we're on your team in the twin flame journey. Okay, so if you need anything, you can email me. Bye, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.